Your marriage can slowly start to feel like a routine instead of a relationship. You can love your partner, but if you're not loving them the way they receive love, they can still feel neglected. And what people don't realize that intimacy, it can be restored. Hey guys, it's your girl Khash, and welcome to the Girl Let Me Tell You podcast. This is a space where we have real conversations about life, relationships, healing, and purpose, all through a God-centered lens. From marriage to friendships to motherhood to becoming the woman God has called you to be, nothing is off limits here. So if you're on a journey of healing, growth, and becoming, you're in the right place. So whether you're driving, winding down at the end of your day, or just taking a moment for yourself, this is something you can sit with. Let's get into today's episode. Hey guys, welcome back to Girl Let Me Tell You podcast. This is episode 5, and today we are going to talk about, this is good, intimacy in marriage and why it's so important to keep that connection flowing. This is going to be good. All right, let's dive in. Marriage is intentional. You have to be intentional. Your marriage can slowly start to feel like a routine instead of a relationship. One thing I had to learn about marriage is this: intimacy doesn't just happen. You have to be intentional about it. And if you're not intentional, you can be doing life together, raising kids, living in the same house, and still feel disconnected. All right. Let's talk about what intimacy really is, because I think this is a good place to start, because when people hear intimacy, they automatically think about sex. But intimacy is so much deeper than sex, right? And that's the truth. Intimacy is connection. To me, it is emotional, it's physical, it's spiritual. Intimacy is a friendship. It's feeling safe with your partner. It's being able to talk, laugh, and be vulnerable together without being judged. And once you understand that intimacy is more than just physical, you start to see how easy it is to lose that connection, right? Especially when life starts happening, right? And when you have kids and you have increased responsibilities to carry, you both get busy, you're pouring into everything else, work, all those things. And before you know it, you're losing connection. You're no longer connecting the way that you used to because of life's responsibilities. And that's when marriage starts to feel like a routine instead of a relationship, right? You guys starts to feel like roommates and college buddies. But at the end of the day, when those kids grow up and leave your home, it's just you and your husband, right? And y'all don't want to be in that space where you never, all those years went by and you didn't create that relationship. So now you're just staring at each other and you guys are empty nesters, bored. Come on, we're not trying to now. You have to start being intentional now, the early years in your marriage. And it's not too late to start. There's no time frame, but it's best in the earlier years so that you can have the joy and the fruit of marriage. Let's talk about being intentional and how intentionality shows up. And it doesn't have to be something big. Sometimes it's the small things that actually matters. So for me and my husband, we're very intentional about staying connected. That is something that we talk about often from beginning of the week. What are we doing this week? We plan out our dinners. We plan out our the times that we watch our shows together. And we love having dinner together as a family, my husband and our children, and that's intimacy. Sometimes laying on the couch, holding hands. I love a little foot rub. My husband is big on touch, so I keep my hands on him. I always laughing together and just being present in the moment, right? Taking that time out to be present. It's the consistency in the small things that actually keeps the connection alive, right? So I want to tell you a quick story. So I have a friend, one of my really good friends. She's my sister in Christ. She's actually one of my best friends. And when we talk about, intimacy and things of that nature, she shared with me that her and her husband, they have a code word. And I and when she's the word or when he says the word, they both know what time it is. I think that is so cute because it keeps things to be fun. It's light, it's intentional. And most important, those kids, because those kids are nosy, right? So it's good to have those little code words that you and your spouse say together. So look, when these lights go off and these kids go to sleep, you know what time it is. I love that. I love it. So I also, after her giving me that information, we kind of like implemented that into our marriage as well. And we take that little code word to another level. So my husband and I, we do similar things. We make that time, even if it's not perfect. We stay intentional. So some things really comes up in a marriage that really changes the marriage, right? So one of the things I want to talk about, actually no, let's transition into something that I learned early, not when my husband and I were going through some warfare and we had gotten Christian counseling. My pastor mentioned um the five, is it five love languages? And my husband and we read the book together. We both bought the book and read it on our own times. It was a really good book. I think that's the name, like love languages. I think I don't remember the name of it, but I'll put it in a description or something. But I did buy it on Amazon, and I we read the book and we learned the different love languages. Right? What honestly, you don't know it up until it actually happens. You can love your partner, but if you're not loving them the way they receive love, they can still feel neglected. And that's something that we were doing. Some people need words. Some people need physical touch. Some people need quality time, acts of service, or gifts. You have to learn your partner's language. And when you do that, you start meeting each other in a deeper way. That's something that I truly had to learn, to love my husband the way how he receives love. And that leads you into another part of intimacy, right? And this is a very important aspect of marriage. I'm talking about sex. Yes, sex is important in marriage, and not just physically, right? There's something, it's but spiritually. In I'm gonna take it back to scripture because I had to go through this myself, right? In First Corinthians 6:16, it says, the two will become one flesh. And what does that mean? When a husband and wife come together, there is a spiritual connection happening. That is the truth. You're bonding. You're becoming one. There's unity being built in the spirit. So it's not just the physical act of sex than that. It is so much deeper. It's something that literally happens in the spirit. And you feel it because you begin to grow closer to your spouse. It's just, marriage ministry is beautiful. It is really beautiful. I want to speak to the men right here. Men are visual, right? And women are more emotional. So, to the men, I need you to connect with your wife emotionally. Talk to her. Talk to your wife. Trust me. Take this advice. Talk to your wife. The more you talk to your wife, the more sex you will have in your marriage. Yes. That is the truth. Compliment her. Make her feel seen. Especially in this world that we're living in now where everything is digital and social media and you have so much access to your phone. You can go on and visual and you want your wife to be seen by you. You don't want her to be thirst trapping on the internet. Give her that attention that she needs. It's very important in a marriage because when a woman feels emotionally safe, she's going to open up physically all the time. It works. And especially we go through so much. We go through a lot on a regular day. Our bodies are constantly changing. In a month, we have like 4 different moods. Each week is something different. If you're not ovulating, then you're menstruating or something. It's always something. Different weeks, different hormones, different emotions. So that emotional connection matters more than you actually realize. When your wife feels loved, she will want to love you back. And loving you back is giving you, the man, what you need. So let's be real. In life, things happen. In marriage, things happen. And real life can affect intimacy, right? I've seen it. I've heard the stories. Stress is very important and big. It's something that can make you feel not wanting to connect. There's responsibilities, especially finances. Finances can really put a wedge in your marriage. It can make you so frustrated. It can make you shut down. It can make you be very distant. And if you're not careful, you will literally stop connecting with your spouse. You don't want your spouse, like I said, you don't want them finding that emotional connection somewhere else. You are supposed to be each other's safe space, and that is big. I make it my business for my husband and I to be best friends. I don't need him going to anyone else talking about what he can talk about with me. Not saying that he can't have friends. It's very healthy to have friends outside of marriage, but we are each other's best friends. I want to transition into restoration in your marriage and in intimacy, because things usually feel off in the connecting with your when you're connecting in your when you're trying to connect in your marriage. And people often believe, I think people think that once I hear the word, I don't love my wife anymore, or I don't love my husband anymore. And I feel like that's not true. I feel like you just lost your way. Along the way, you lost the intimacy, you lost the connection, because there was love there originally. You said, I do. You love this person, right? You chose this person for a reason. There was a foundation there. So something happened. And usually what it is the intimacy decline drastically. Couples go months, years without that physical connection. And that right there is so unhealthy. And what people don't realize, that intimacy, it can be restored. I truly believe that God can restore what feels disconnected when both people are willing to work together and work it out. It can happen, right? So looking back at all of this, one thing I've learned is that intimacy requires intention. It requires work. It requires sacrifice. It requires humility. It requires a level of vulnerability that you might have never, ever did in your life. Marriage isn't easy, but it's not that hard. It really isn't. It takes a lot of communication and building of the intimacy. So before I wrap this up, I do want to leave you guys with a few things that actually help me and my husband keep the connection really, really strong in our marriage, and a couple of the takeaways that I want to discuss. Let's start. I think I have about 5 of them. I actually wrote notes today. I wrote out some notes, and one of the takeaway, number 1, is be intentional about connection. Don't wait for intimacy to happen. You have to create it. It is not a fairy tale marriage. It's not like what you see on the TV. Oh, you feel all this passion. And no, you have to create the intimacy. Number two, learn your partner's love language. Love them the way they receive love, not how you give it. In Philippians 2:4, it says, let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. Hello? Learn about your spouse. All right, number three, keep emotional and physical intimacy balance. You need both to thrive in a healthy marriage. You cannot have one without the other. You need a balance. Number four is protect your marriage from external pressures. Don't let stress or finances disconnect you, because it will. Stress, change, finances, it will put a strain on your marriage. When you see it happening, pray. When you discern it happening, pray about it, and don't allow it to put a wedge in your marriage. In Mark 10:9, it says, what God has joined together, let no one separate. And when I say no one, I mean no one. Finances, whatever, don't let it happen. Last but not least, intimacy can always be restored with effort, communication, and God. It can be rebuilt. Okay? And put God first, and he will give you the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding. He will have you seeking out resources to help build your marriage back to what it needs to be. So in this episode, if there's one thing I want you to take from this episode, it's this: don't stop choosing your spouse. Keep choosing your spouse. Keep on choosing him. Keep on choosing her. If you're in a season where your marriage needs reconnection, just know it can be restored with intention, effort, and God. He has to be at the center. I can't stress that enough. This episode was really, really good for me because I went through this. So this pretty much, I'm about to be out. It really, this wraps up today's episode, and I pray that this conversation gave you clarity, conviction, and comfort. If this blessed you, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to another woman who needs it. It's your girl Khash, and remember, restoration looks good on you. I'll see you in the next episode.